G'day everyone, welcome to this week's Stitchy Progress. I'm Rach or Rara, and I'm sharing my cross stitch journey this year. I have some haul to share, some projects to share. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to comment, and if this is your first visit, welcome. I come to you from the South Island of New Zealand, where it is a bit gloomy and overcast. The sun was supposed to burn the clouds off, but it hasn't. Anyway, I shall crack on and get this done. 3 things to share. Projects 2, 3 and 4 of my 8 project rotation. So, Project 2 didn't get a lot of love. If you've watched this before, or my channel before rather, you'll know that I'm struggling with my Hawk Run Hollow, primarily because I know it's going to take me umpteen million years to do it, and it's like, what's one more day? So I am working in part 2, and I am literally working around here at the moment. When I showed it to you last time, I've got Saint, bit of the fence above it, and the greenery on the border side of the tree and a little bit of the tree. It's on the floor. As I said, not a lot of progress really. So I have finished the second colour in here and done the other side of the tree stump and a bit more of the dark down below. You can't really see. The colours are not brilliant, I'm afraid. I haven't quite figured out lighting for when it's overcast. I've put the overhead light on, but I don't really know how much of a difference it's making. There are 2 colours in that they're green. It could have just been one. I'm sure it'll look good at the end, I don't know. It is, I can slightly see it, but from afar will I be able to see it? I don't know. Anyway. Slow and steady wins the race. We'll get there. My goal is to have the second part of this finished by the end of the year. So we're looking at 2 parts a year over the next 6 years. Which is why I'm like, what's one more day if it's going to take 6 years to do? Okay, I'll skip number 3. And go on to number 4. We'll come back to number 3 at the end. So number 4 actually starts today. So I've done a little bit this morning, and I'll do some more afterwards. So number 4 is Garden Series Club Blackbird Designs. I have done this side, and I'm starting to do this side. And when I showed this to you last time, it was in the rotation. I had barely touched this part of the chart. So this morning I have got the flower done at the top of the plant. So the plant will be a lot like this, and then there's a bee skip below. So this side, you can see sort of the join in the middle possibly. That's not helpful. It's narrower than the first side, so I would really like to try and have at least 75% of this chart, this half done by the end of the 4 days, if not the whole bit. I'm going to push myself and really try and get it done so that I can get part 4 of this finished by the end of the year. So this is parts 1 and 2 and 3 and a bit. Or, yeah. It's lovely though. It's going to be stunning when it's finished. So that's the Garden Series Club. Okay. Then I will show you my haul. So I said last week that Sam from Mind My Needle, who is a fellow Kiwi Flosstuber, has launched an online business. So she is selling a combination of second-hand charts and new charts. And I picked up a couple of second-hand charts from her, and they have arrived. So I have got Lizzie Kate's Kitty String, and I shall do this in honour of my ginger baby who's now in heaven. I think at some point next year. So that's one. The other chart that I got, and I haven't taken these out of the plastic, I realised. This is Afternoon in London, Country Cottage Needleworks. I've been umming and ahhing about this one, but I want to do something to commemorate the fact that I used to live in London, so when I saw that she put this for sale, I decided to grab it. It's got the old Routemaster bus, which I love, Big Ben, so, and some guardsmen, which I love. Should I say that? I have met guardsmen. Anyway, then my other order that came in is my heartstring samplery order. She has her own Etsy shop, which I wasn't aware of until I discovered when I was looking for a chart that I had found on Pinterest. Confusing. So I ordered 2 charts. So the first one is Victoria's Garden. So the bottom is the original sampler and the top image is the reproduction. You're just not going to see the colours very well. Light greens and pinks and sort of mauvey purples, sort of pretty, very pretty. Hopefully when I play it back the colours won't be quite so bad. And the reason for the order, and I'm going to take this one out of the thing because it's such a nice, the card just come out. I was perusing Pinterest, as I do when I like to waste an hour or so doing nothing, and I saw this cross-stitched stitched, and when I opened it I realised that it was a reproduction and that it was by a company that was still around. So I went searching and discovered it was a heartstring samplery, and this is Anne Taylor. Now I don't know how well you're going to see that. This is such a beautiful sampler. The image I don't believe does it justice. It's one of those things that when you see it stitch up you're all going to go wow, I hope. And this is definitely going on my plans for next year. It is, from what I can ascertain reading the chart information for this and Victoria's Garden, I don't believe this is a reproduction. I believe this is an original sampler from Beth Twist, whereas it does mention about Victoria's Garden being a reproduction, so I couldn't find anywhere on this that said it was a reproduction. Whatever way, it's beautiful, it's absolutely lovely, so I'm looking forward to doing that. So those are my bits of haul. I've still got 2 outstanding orders. The Hands Across the Sea special edition, Esther, and if you're in England, only in England you'll understand this. I was about to say Esther Ranson, Esther Benson. That is due to arrive sometime. I paid for it, so it should arrive sometime. And this wayward order that I still haven't actually followed up, but I think I've written the information somewhere. Did I write it on this piece of paper down here? Maybe not. I've written it somewhere. Oh yes, I have. Right. Okay, the last thing I have to share with you today is a finish. Yay! She is done. Plum Street Samplers, Harvest Keeper. Oh, I didn't bring my book in. She started, if she was project 315, she must have started around about the 10th of January, and I thought I had finished her on Saturday, but it turns out I finished her yesterday, because when I was showing people at Stitchy Group I realised I had missed 6 stitches, so I put those final 6 stitches in yesterday. So here she is in all her beauty. Harvest Keeper, Plum Street Samplers. I don't know how well you're going to pick up the variation in the bee skips. And her pink flower on her bottom. So, I do have more fabric at the bottom, don't fear, I've just got it folded up so that we haven't got holes in the middle. I have to take the scissors to the bottom, and I haven't braved that yet. If you've watched my channel before, you'll know I had some arguments with the border, and I had to do a little bit of creative stitching. I also discovered as I was finishing off that I had another mistake in the border, but I wasn't doing anything about it. It's not that noticeable unless you're up close and you look really closely all around to see the difference. But I really like her, and I'm thrilled to pieces I've got something finished that I started this year on the bigger scale. I think I've done a small or two along the way. So what I thought I would do is share some information. So this is 32 count lamb's wool. It's charted for 35 count Confederate grey, using 1 strand of floss over 2 linens. That's linen thread, sorry. So that's on the 35 count. So I did 2 over 2 on 32 count. So I thought I'd do a quick show of the threads, so that if you are thinking about doing it, you're thinking about doing it on a 32, you'll have a better idea of how much to get. I've actually got them in order, but they're not listed in order on the chart. Which was the one? Okay, so on the chart it doesn't tell you how many skeins to buy. Obviously if you're using 1 thread you probably only need 1 skein. So with the brandy I've got plenty left, so that's fine, there's enough of those. The Grecian gold, again, plenty left, you only need 1 of those. Lamb's wool, is this the one? It's the star. Where is that star? It's the next one. So lamb's wool, again, plenty left. You only need 1 of those for 32 count. Oatmeal. In my view, you do not need oatmeal unless you already have it in your supply or stash. It is 1 stitch, and I did not realise it. I didn't look at the whole chart when I was placing my order for threads. I just went off what was on the back. If you have it in your stash, great, use it. If you don't, and you're on a budget, I wouldn't worry about it. I would use the DMC conversion, which is listed, because it is 1 stitch. So I've got plenty of oatmeal for another project. Old hickory. Again, plenty, so you only need 1 of those. Pecan pie. I've got plenty left, so again, you only need 1 of those. Piney woods, you need 2 on 32 count. I completely finished 1 and made a good dent in the second one. So you need 2 piney woods if you're doing a 32. Pomegranate, which is her lovely red flower on her bum. I've got plenty left of that, so you only need 1. Raven is cutting it fine. I literally have, and you're probably not even going to be able to see it very well, a length of thread, 2 strands for doing 2 over 2. I have only got 1 length left. So if you are prone to visits by the frog, you might need 2 ravens to be on the safe side. You can see the variation in the raven, so you know it's whereas, what do they say, so 310 is DMC. There's no reason why you couldn't use DMC. The only place where the variation actually shows is in her hat, and you're probably not going to be able to see it. The rest of the darkness with the black, which is in the bee skips, you're not really seeing the variation, but you do see it in her hat. So raven, literally a length left. You might want 2 if you're doing it on 32 or 28 count. Sarsaparilla, it's cutting it fine, but there's enough there. I've still got a whole 6 strand plus a bit extra, so that's, you only need 1 of those. Wood rose is cutting it fine. I think I've got 4 strands left and a teeny bit extra. So again, wood rose is in the border and the bees, the leaves and the acorns and the bees. So again, and the leaves I think too, yeah. So I think if you again are a bit prone to frogging and stuff like that, you might want to have 2 wood rose. Wood trail, you need 2 if you're on 32 count. I completely finished one, and on the second one I've got 1 6 strand, I've got one that I've broken into, which is now 4 left, and a teeny bit, so it's almost a second skein of wood trail. And the other one that is in the last Gentle Art is called Fudge Ripple. I couldn't get that at all when I was trying to find it, so I went for the DMC conversion, which is 30-32 and heaps. And it actually really isn't in a heap of places. So again, that's probably one I wouldn't worry too much about and just use the DMC conversion. So there we have it. Harvest Keeper, Plum Street Samplers. Taken quite a long time to do, as you know, given that it's now September and it was started in January, but it only had 4 days every 40 for a long time before it then got double that. So, and then I had an argument with it as well. So there we go. I'm very pleased. I suppose I need to think about cutting that off so that I can get that crease out of it. Anyway, or an iron. So that's my lot for you this week. I don't think there's any other news at the moment. As I say, I'm on Garden Series Club now. At the end of that, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday is meant to be the free slots, but I'm going to swap Project 5 and the free slots around because I'm going away next week. So I will work on Project 5 on Friday for the next 4 days, and then it'll almost be time to go away. It'll be the free slots, and then it'll be the Quaker, which is the one I'm taking away, and Project 7 will only miss 1 or 2 days. So I shouldn't be too far out of whack in my rotation. I will do a quick video next week because there'll be Garden Series Club in Santa's Village to show, possibly some haul if anything turns up, and then there won't be a video then after that for a fortnight. I won't do anything, and depending on, and I'll remind you again next week, if I actually don't get a lot of stitching done while I'm away, I probably won't do a video when I first come back either. So there might be 2 videos missing, not just one. We'll see. So that is my lot. I'm going to now check the colour, watch its back and check the colouring, although there's not a lot I can do about it. I will take a photo of this and put it on my Instagram, which is the same name, Rara's Realm. And I think that is all. Thanks for watching, and have a good week. Stitch everything you want to stitch, and I will catch you next week for a further update. Thanks everyone.